Good morning, everybody. It is July 18th, 2025. Gonna do a journal reading today. I have to admit, as I've been thinking about this the past hour, my anxiety is rising. My parts are a little nervous to talk about this, but so forgive me if I'm a little off kilter. Letting them know everything's gonna be okay. So let me just dive in here. So this part's name is Wanda. Well, it started off, let me just show you this. I was laying in bed and I have a parts puddle, and as y'all know, I have a subconscious world that I created out in the mountains with a lake, and there's a mountain with a waterfall, and the waterfall turns into the lake and all their houses are around it. And um, one day, this, I guess I should share. Let me do that. These three witches appeared. Now, obviously, this is a Google image, but they were pretty close to this, all dirty and haggard, and the creepy nose and the whole deal with filthy black robes on. But they were tied together with a rope. One, two, three in a line. And I'm trying to remember, this is like a year ago, but I just remember, acknowledging them, saying hello, and I made them they wanted to stay in a tent because we have tents, instead of a little cabin. And I asked them if they would stay and drink some of Lake City's water because it's blessed, but so I was interacting with them, trying to figure out who they were, and they told me that they were WWW. And I just thought that meant, three witches. And and it does. But let me close this so it's a little bit larger. Um, they lived in a grotto, which is like a cave with what kind of a watery area, just below and off to the right of the waterfall, kind of behind in the forest back where it was, dark and concealed and they could hang out there. And I asked them if they would live in a tent, but I also asked them, I says, well, what's the rope about? Why are you all tied together? Is this one part with three aspects, or is this three parts, or what is this? And they didn't really tell me, but they gave me permission to cut the rope. I could cut them away from each other so that they could all three be individuals. And I think the next day, when I was going to bed and checking in with my parts, they were back out in the grotto. And I said, I apologized to them for insisting they stay with me. But I was grateful that they popped their head up and showed themselves to me. And so here's the journal entries that go with that, if I can get to them. Let's see. So Wanda um, says, laying down to go to bed. This is from August 10th. Laying down to go to bed, I called for parts puddle. And that's just where I say, everybody get together, let's puddle together and talk and chat and whatever. I had an image in my mind's eye of all three witches back in their grotto. I apologized to them for making them say something they did not want to say. That's right. I asked them if they would, I think it was something along the lines of accept Jesus or rebuke witchcraft or something. I told them that they wanted to come back anytime they could, and I was glad they still had their white robes on. Suddenly an image oh, that's right, because I took them out of their black robes and I put them into white robes. So I was glad they still had their white robes on. Suddenly an image in my mind of a witch in spirit form, oh, coming and screaming at me right in my face. Then I was taken back to that spinning thing we did in Grandma's living room where she/we called down demons to us. When they came down, they put their faces right next to ours first. And they screamed at us, utter terror, and then they entered us individually. Then, once they were inside of us, they spun and spun and spun again, and they slash we were screaming and cackling through us. That's me and my two sisters. Now, this spinning thing that I'm talking about here, my sisters, I'll show you an image. I found this on Google. Um, me and my two sisters, we were doing this, holding each other's hands, except we were more like holding each other's like this because grandma had to start spinning and spinning and spinning. And I believe she started us off on sand, which was very difficult. And once we got spinning, then we were supposed to lay our heads back like these ladies are in the picture here. And then the next time she had us do it was in dirt. And the next time, I think oh yeah, it was on their living room floor. So it's a hardwood floor. And so that's what my grandmother was having us do, this spinning thing. And we would try to go as fast as possible and leaning our heads back as far as possible. And one night I had one of those adrenaline surges in your wake, and there was a witch just right here, just screaming. And I woke up. And I think I might have these journals out of order because they're the same date. So forgive me if I do. Let me take a look real quick. Oh, it is. I have it on here twice. Okay, well, now I know. So, So I'll go back here. Suddenly, an image in my mind of a witch in spirit form coming and screaming at me right in my face. Then I was taken back to that spinning thing we did in Grandma's room where she slash we called down demons to us. When they came down, they put their faces right in our faces first and they screamed at us, utter terror. And then they entered us individually. Then once they were inside of us, they spun and spun and spun again, and they slash we were screaming and cackling through us. I remember that face in my face, and I was terrified, and I split right then. And then when it entered me, I felt it overpowering me, and I split again. And then when we were spinning and they were screaming through us, I split again. So that's the three witches slash parts. I believe it's designed that way. Terrorize in three ways to make us three splits successively. And the first one, first to be confronted, first split, then to be overpowered, second split, and then being that very thing, that spirit inside animating our bodies, third split, the successive program, being terrorized to even see it or remember it, number one, then to be overpowered by it, number two, then knowing that it is actually you then knowing that it is actually you being that terrorizing thing. Number three, at each level, you're terrorized to not remember. If you remember, the next level comes out. If you remember later, then the next level comes out. It's brilliant, actually. So I'm laying there in bed thinking about this and what it is. I'm gonna stop share for a second. It's a program to and it coupled with my MK Ultra programming several years later is if you start to remember something, those memories come up and you're terrorized. The adrenaline flies through your body and you're like, what? So that as we're spinning and spinning, my grandmother's calling down demons, and we have to, lay our head back like this. Well, these witches came right in our face. And that's the first terrorization. It's confronting evil, confronting a demon, but not just it's the act of confronting any SRA memories, any of them that confront. If you can confront it, that first memory or a memory, that's the first level is you split. and you realize, oh my God, the terror's too big, it's too awful, it's too much, and you might suppress it again. Okay, but if you can go pet, and then the next thing that happened in that ritual, first there's three of us, me and my two sisters, and we're spinning, and there's three entities coming down. And what they would do is they would come in front of our face as we're spinning. They spun with us, and then they would shift position. So I'd have the second demon in my face, and then it'd hang out with us for a second as we are spinning, physically spinning, and then they'd switch position. I'd have the third one. So there's just this confront, this terror, this evil, this awful. And psychologically, when you're remembering stuff, you're confronting it. So you're instantly terrorized and you're pushing it down. You're splitting, you're compartmentalizing it. So that was the first thing I realized is first you have to confront your memories, confront the terror. And like, okay, so in this ritual, so we're spinning and the demons are spinning and trading positions with us. Then, because we're screaming, ah, our mouths are open. So now these demons enter our airway, right? And the three witches' names later on were Wanda, because it's a wand, like a witch's wand. You're being confronted. The next one was wind. Wanda, wind, and wave. So Wanda is confronting us. Wind is now the demons as we're still spinning and screaming, and our mouths are open. The demons are entering our mouths through our air, the wind of the demon, the wind of our, airways, whatever. So that's what her name was, wind. So we're still spinning, and now these demons are entering our bodies as we're screaming. And so you're feeling this thing enter you, and you're screaming, right? Splitting again, because now it's not just confronting you, it's entering you. So split when it's there, it's entering you, split. And so we're spinning and spinning and spinning. And then once it's totally inside of us and we're flipped out because something has entered my body and we're still spinning, me and my two sisters, then the demons started animating each of our bodies and we started spinning faster, almost in a supernatural speed, because these demons are now taking over our bodies and animating us. So that's wave. So you got Wanda confronting you, wind entering you, and wave animating your body and spinning us at this supernatural speed. And those were their names. I thought I chose those names for them. It's like, well, you're WWW, let's call you Wanda Wind and Wave. But I realized, no, those were their names. They were telling me, I just thought I made them up, you know? So, and now as the demon is inside of our bodies and we are physically spinning at the supernatural speed, the demon inside of us is spinning within us. So you have this internal spinning and this external spinning, and we're screaming. So there's three splits: confronting it, having it enter you, and then having it take over your body. Wanda, wind, and wave. Let me share again. Actually, I don't think I need to. I'm just going to be reading. Yeah. So first to be confronted, then overpowered as it's entering, and then being that very thing as it is taking over our body. The successive program, be terrorized to even see it or remember it, number one. So I'm laying there and my parts are relating it to, it's not just about what happened in the splits. The splits, this ritual was done for a very specific reason to insert a program into ourselves, our minds, that if you confront your memories, you're first going to be terrorized. If you um, go ahead and remember it anyway and reach for it and try to heal, then you're going to be overpowered by it, then to be overpowered by it, number two. And if you can still handle the physical, because now it's internal and physical, if you can handle that and still push through the body memory, still push through the actual memory, the third part, then knowing that it is actually you being the terrorizing thing, number three, because now the third step is actual demon inside of you and you being evil. You, I don't even know if you want to call it embodying it, but the memory of realizing that you yourself, you've only known your front personality while you were amnesic, and now you have to confront the fact that I am evil. Me. Even though it's not me spiritually, that part believes it is evil because it is animating, a demon is animating me. So those are the three levels: confronting it, being overpowered by it, and then being it, believing that you are the demon. And that's done very intentionally. Um, at each level, you're terrorized to not remember. If you remember, the next level comes out. If you remember later, then the next level comes out. It's brilliant, actually. So the three of them are actually back. Oh, so back to the journal. So the three of the parts are actually back in their tent now. They said that that's exactly right. First, if you remember, you will be confronted with terror. If you go to the next level and confront, it will overwhelm your body. If you go to the next level, it will make you believe that you are the terror, not the perpetrators, overwhelm your mind. It's so well designed. And I said, I'm glad I watched that interview with Svali about the Alice in Wonderland programming. So I believe that watching that Alice in Wonderland programming is what brought out these parts. It says with those three splits, and then began the spinning again, you also add on to it disorientation and distortion and confusion. Those actually are the three layers. And I said, wow, thank you for telling me. I said, all of the programming was done in 5 minutes, three layers of it, and then have to go back to normal because after that, once we got our bearings and stopped spinning, we sat down and had dinner. Back to the daytime personality to be forgotten about as quickly as possible. And that was intentional. My grandparents had my mom and dad go out for a date night or something when, oh, we'll take care of the kids. You two go out and have dinner. So they had us do this ritual, this spinning thing, and Grandma had prepared us on the sand and the dirt. I think she had us do it on grass too. So that once we got onto the hardwood floor and there's no impediment, we were able to spin really well. And the spinning itself and her incantations and juju, I don't even remember what she did. Um, she pulled down these three demons. And right now, my part is telling me that we were inside of a pentagram. So I need to jot that down. Um, okay, so 7, 18, 25. Let's say spin in the pentagram. Okay. So right here, I'll just interject. As y'all are reading your old journals, you're going to get little details. Jot them down so you don't lose them. It says, as I'm understanding this deeper and deeper, the three witches are getting younger. So as I'm laying there in bed thinking about this and they're telling me how it works, they went from old, craggly old ladies. This is as I'm understanding this deeper and deeper, the three witches are getting younger. Their skin is not wrinkled anymore. Their hair is getting long and silky. They're getting younger and younger. And now they are all 3 year olds and they're drinking lots of water. The water from our lake that Jesus has blessed. So here's the parts. After these three ladies told me their incident, and first I cut them apart and separated them. Then I had them in white robes instead of black robes. They told me, and I figured it out. Well, actually, they told me. So I understood. And once I understood, they started changing and turned into the three little girls that me and my two sisters were. So, um, their new, oh geez. I changed this from incident to purpose. So anyway, so their new purpose, their old purpose was to practice witchcraft tied to others, tied to each other, and also just others in the cult. That was also part of it. But when they turned into little girls, they said, our new purpose now is to be individuals. And I said, oh, okay, right on. So they moved from this to this, but I still couldn't understand. Well, but at this point, I was understanding there are three individual parts. Okay, so there they are. They turned younger, the age that their trauma happened. So I'm understanding this deeper and deeper. The three witches are getting younger. Their skin is not wrinkled anymore. Their hair is getting long and silky. They are getting younger and younger. And now they are all 3-year-olds and they're drinking lots of water. And they to Wanda, Wind, and Wave are their new names. They were no longer just one part that I thought had three issues. I realized, no, this is three individual separate parts from one incident that was only 5 minutes long. So Wanda, Wind, and Wave. Wanda, oh, and now they're asking to change clothes. Wanda wants blue jeans and a t-shirt and tennis shoes. Wind likes to have a pretty dress on. Wave wants a pantsuit. And I said, it's done. Poof. They are all very excited and we are hugging. They understand that there are no demons inside of them. They understand that they were fooled. They understand that it was terrifying, but now it is not. We are all hugging and excited to be free of the trap. Now they want to go blow up the grotto. So this is part of my new life process, giving them a new life, is changing their clothes, changing their names, blowing up their prisons. So they said now they want to go blow up the grotto. So again, 3 claymore mines. Each one is pushing the plunger. It's blown up. It's all collapsing on itself. And now it's just a pile of rubble and the water is dissolving all the rocks. And the water is becoming clear now, and now it's just part of the lake, clear, beautiful, and healthy. They are all individually jumping up and down and laughing. They want to go and play now. They want to swing on the swings and get ice cream and go swimming and do all the great stuff at Lake City. I said, go ahead. Thank you so much. When the first witch came and put her face in my face, it just screamed and screamed and screamed, terrorizing us, me, Angie, Mary, for quite some time, moving around and shouting vile things that they would do, trading positions with me and Angie and Mary. The next level was realizing that it was entering me through my mouth down into my stomach and spinning around, overtaking my entire body. That's the overwhelmed level physically, distributing pain everywhere in a chaotic fashion over and over. So for me, that's body memories. Now, granted, when I remember, the body memory usually comes first, but sometimes the image will come and the body memories come after. Then, once it had control of the body, it starts physically spinning with the other two in the physical world and also inside each of us individually. So, a whirlwind inside of a whirlwind, and then starts screaming and screaming and screaming through our voice, through our body, letting us know that we had no control whatsoever, that it is we who have become them. Then finally, oops, so too fast. Then finally it all stops. We are still spinning in our mind, in our body. We have to become oriented in the physical world again, and only for just a moment, and then ushered back to the normal life, just instantaneously from chaos to non-chaos, teaching us how to switch quickly. And if we remember, those 3 levels of programming kick in to terrorize us first by confronting it all. Next, by having it overwhelm the entire body, and finally instilling the belief that it is we ourselves who are the demon and not the perpetrators. And then instantly switch back and have amnesia and not even remember what happened. Back to the front personality who is having dinner with their family. So smooth. So I'm laying there as Wanda Win and Waver Up playing. My analytical mind is starting to put this together. It's funny because before, when I had the parts puddle, there was no real activity. And I thought to myself, where are the three witches? Where is Witchy? It's what I called her. I thought it was one part. And I realized they were all back. They were all three back in the grotto. And that's when this all began. Now that I understand each level of their programming, Lake City is productive and moving again. The mind files put in three three-man levels of scientific programming, which reached back to the three, this should say male, the mind files. So this is the MK Ultra later, years later. So I'm connecting these because I remembered the MK Ultra before I remembered the SRA. The Mayan files put in three male levels of scientific programming, which reached back to the three female occult levels of SRA programming. Now, I'll put this right here. MKU. I gotta figure out, let me look here real quick what age the MKU was, because I'm 3 years old when my grandparents are doing this. So it's Yuri. Let me find Yuri. Okay, 6 years old. So at three, I have the SRA programming put in. And at six, I have MK Ultra layered on top of that. It's the exact same programming, but done scientifically. And this is what I'm realizing here. The mind files put in the three male levels of scientific programming, which reached back to the three female occult levels of SRA programming. So for MKU, it was sabotage, suicide, and insanity. For the SRA, let's do this. For the SRA, it was confrontation, body overwhelm, and mental overwhelm. So you can see how they connect. First, if I confront, if I remember, if a memory comes up and I have to confront it, which just means look at it, I will have a part that will come up and sabotage me. So that and if I get past the sabotage, then the next level kicks in, which is okay, your body's going to become overwhelmed, right? And you've got all this body memory and all this confront, and so you feel I might as well just kill myself because it's too much to deal with. So that's the suicide programming. Then if you can get past that and you don't kill yourself and you're still doing your healing, the next level will come where you get this mental overwhelm. And I know a lot of, well, I shouldn't say, I know that one, two, three, and I myself went through this. Four of us survivors are going through this now, this mental overwhelm. You're just flooded with memory after memory after memory, and it's hard to keep up with it. And it's you got to go to work and you got to take care of your kids and you got to cook dinner and you're having memories all along the way and your body's all jacked up and it's just this constant. So, and that's the mental overwhelm. For the witches, that was once the demon was in our body, taking over our body and mind and animating us, overwhelming our mental will. And that ties in with the MKU, the third level, which is insanity. Because if you're not doing TED Talks, if you're not journaling, if you're popping pills for body memories or doing drugs, and you're having this just avalanche of memories, you could go insane. So that's how they tie together the SRA with their rituals and demons, and then the scientific, bad guys get in there with MKU, and just label it with with sabotage, suicide, and insanity. And when I put that together that night, I was just like, "Wow, are you kidding me?" You know, and they're like, "No, we're not." And so now I'm talking to the MK Ultra parts, these three male parts that were put in and when I was 6 years old. First, I'm talking to the three SRA girls, and the MKU parts revealed before the SRA ones. So Yuri did not split from Bonnie. Here is Yuri. Actually, I'll back up a little bit. Let me take you back to shoot. It's VALI. Oops. I'll show you the three girls because they got new names. So they went from this three old witches tied together. Once I cut their ties, they showed me they turned young again. Then they could tell me more. And this was the ritual, that the physical activity. So Wanda changed her name to Carrie. And here's Wanda. And then she's got a little cute little face. Here's Wind. And she wanted the name Tula. And I love her. She's so vibrant. And here is Wave. Her name is Valley. And I put in here that this part has a tie, gatekeeper, three of three, embody evil, overwhelm the mind, confusion. The MK Ultra tie was Sean and insanity. So now I will show you the three MK Ultra parts. Oh, shoot. Uh, so I have 3,500 pages now, so I have to do it by searching. Okay, here they are. Yuri was the first one. If I started to remember something, he would sabotage me. And this is how he presented himself, with glowing yellow eyes. And that really tripped me out. So he's level one of the MK Ultra programming. And he ties in with the level one SRA programming, the confronting of evil, confronting your memories, because they are evil. The second level was Shadow Man. He presented himself as a shadow demon. And he would present as nightmare, terror, seeing demons, insanity. He ties in with the mental overwhelm with Valley. Oh, he's level three of three. I guess I got these guys out of order. And Sean presented himself as Black Man, who's a smoker, which I smoke still, unfortunately. But he presented himself as like this Skeletor thing, and he was death, suicide, deadly illness. And he ties in with Valley, which is body overwhelm. So you've got those three levels, and I'm just realizing right now I gotta fix this because it should go Yuri, Bert, and then Sean, not the other way around. Because let me look at my journal. Obviously laid this out wrong. Yeah, sabotage first, suicide next. If that doesn't work, then you go insane. SRA, first you confront it, then your body overwhelms you, and you might be cutting or burning or excessive exercise or excessive whatever. And then you go into the mental overwhelm, which is the insanity part. So, suicide, insanity. I gotta fix this, and forgive me because if I don't do it now, I may forget. So, and I don't want to forget because it's important. So I need to put him, oopsie, after So it's Yuri, Bert, and Sean. Okay, perfect. So I need to make a note to change Sean and Bert. And Bert's first name that he picked was Bartholomew. And as I was typing it out in all my forms, he said, you can just call me Bert. I said, okay, Bert. And he's a chilled out guy. I don't know that I like the glass of wine in his hand, but he really liked this picture and so smoking and alcohol. And I'm not a drinker, so I'm not really sure what's going on there. But I think it's about doing things that are bad for the body. And yes, I'm still smoking. So he's still very much doing his thing, but it's okay. Um, so is it Carrie-Tula Valley? Oh my gosh, I have this messed up. I've got to fix this valley. I think this should say Tula here. Anyway, so I'm laying there putting this together. So when I first met Yuri months before, let me see when his first journal entry was August 6th of 24. Oh, right. Yeah. And so this is August 10th. So it was a week before I remembered the MK Ultra, and it's a week later, and then I remembered the SRA, and I'm starting to put together how they work. So a week before this, Yuri says, "Oh, I split off of Bonnie." Okay, I don't know any better. I'm amnesic. And he says, Yuri says, "I did not split from Bonnie." He said, "That was sabotage. That's what I do." He said he split with Sean and Bert in the mind foul programming, which is MK Ultra. It was the confrontation of it triggered the sabotage. Those male three, those I think I should say three male, those three male parts triggered the female. Oh, the male three is how he words it, triggered the female three each successively. I'm saying this to him. I guess we're just, our thoughts are intermingled here. And he says, "You got it." Said and now the grotto is located just behind the waterfall. So it was meant to be connected with Jesus. I just remembered what the witches were screaming, and it was this: "If you think Jesus will save you, he won't. He's right here and doing nothing. We have all the power. To hell with Jesus. He is in hell. We put him there. We have the power. We have you. Where is your Savior? Not here. We have you. You belong to us." And then they entered us. I totally forgot about this. Wow. I remember I was screaming and screaming as it screamed at us. It filled my vision. There was nothing but this witch terrorizing me, nothing else I could perceive, just this. I was screaming. Then it filled my mouth and lungs and body. I was choking with it. My body convulsed with it. Then I'm spinning inside and then physically spinning outside and shouting the very same things to each other and the world. We became the witches. Me and my two sisters became those three demonic witches, which they're not really witches if they were demons. Then it all stopped and went normal. Was it a dream? Dinner? What? We were moved to the table to eat. They began to chatter about the day. No mention of what just happened. No whisper of it. Just split, 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 switch. It was just Grandma, Grandpa, me, Angie, Mary. Mom and Dad were gone. They came back after dinner was over and we were playing some board game. So how was their dinner? Oh, ours was good too. So this is what happened to the SRA programming is put in at the younger age if you're in a family that is witchcraft and Satanists. That is instilled and laid in first. And because my father had done MK Ultra stuff in the military, did it to others. Once I hit 6 years old, and now he's rubbing elbows with the CIA guy in a mob club, and they're creating a plan for my life. Then my dad instilled the MK Ultra programming, which my dad did a lot of it, but I think this particular program was instilled by my CIA handler. So that is what John and I figured out is the SRA is laid down first if you're in a family of Satanists. And so the SRA was done, and you can see the demons and spirits and stuff here above them. So there's what, six people here, and I can count one, two, maybe there's six demons up here, I'm not sure. But in ours ritual, there were three of us, and there were three demons, witches, whatever you want to call them. So, and right now I'm thinking they must have specific demonic names and levels and purposes. And I'm only thinking that because I yesterday was looking at different uh the list of fallen angels and demons and their structure, and it's something I'm starting to learn about, and have to have God cover me while I'm learning it because I don't want to be, programmed by it or open any doorways. So anyhow, that's the journal. Now, I mentioned in that journal that all of these memories came after I remembered. First, I remembered the MK Ultra a week before. Now I'm remembering the younger age and the SRA programming and how they tied together, right? But it was in between there that I watched Svali's interview with Emma about the Alice in Wonderland programming. And I believe by listening to this and thinking about it, it untangled the two from each other. And then I was able to remember. So, am I sharing? No. So, this is, and I recorded this as the 12th afterwards, but the other journal said I had watched it before. So here I am riding my bike finally after about 6 weeks. It feels good. I was thinking about my stretching routine and how I haven't been able to do the one that bends my right knee. As I was thinking about that, I had an image in my mind. I have my right ankle being taped to my right thigh and having to bounce around on my left foot and being given tasks. I had to bounce across a room or area and not doing it well or right and falling onto my right knee. So that's fascinating. I somehow think that was training with Jack at the School Sisters of Notre Dame. And so as I'm riding my bike, I took notes. So the Alice in Wonderland programming, I don't know that I will convey this as well as her, but I'm just going to write down the notes that I made. First level of splitting are the believer parts. They filter out, forget, and contradict what non-believers say. It does not believe in the cult or that it exists. They believe in a fantasy. They have needs for attachment and safety. Need for attachment and safety are attached to the believer parts. Attachment and safety if she believes, and punishment if she does not believe, which I think we can all relate to that. So we have believer parts that are believer parts. We live in a fantasy, the front personality world, we don't even believe the cult exists because they have that need for attachment and safety through what they perceive as a normal family when it's not a normal family. So next is the primary controller. The main controller is the next level. They motivate the believer parts. The controllers will fulfill the attachment needs and punishment to maintain motivation. And I'm going to try and find the link for this. Now, since Emma's channel got deleted, I don't know if Emma has reposted it again, but I'll try and find it and then y'all can watch this. The rabbits watch. Alice must forget or the presenters won't forget. Alice is the first split. Now, the presenters are the people who go out into the world and perform missions, jobs. So presentations are Alice's children. There's a mother in programming the King of Hearts. The mother models in the womb how Alice should act. Yeah, I am not doing this justice, and you'll hear me talk about this with Jon in the session. I don't want to butcher this and confuse you because Svali really explains it beautifully. So I'm going to stop there with the journal. Um, so I guess that's it for today. Um, and It's good because I got another detail to the ritual and also that Sean and Bert are in the wrong order. So that was good for me for this. And I hope that helps y'all understand what's happening during your actual healing process. Is first you have to confront it. And if you can't confront it, or if you do confront it, you're going to have a sabotage part come in and maybe you'll twist your ankle. And so instead of remembering and working on that, you're going to be focusing on the pain in your ankle and getting an ankle brace and, limping around for the next 10 days, right? You're not thinking about that memory anymore. The sabotage part pushes down the memory, or you might burn your hand or cut a finger or whatever. And then the next level is, okay, if you can get past that and you still remember it because you journaled it, right? And you can go back and read it. The next level is, okay, well, shoot, I wish I hadn't closed that. Let me see, because that is still. So the next level, so you've confronted it, then the sabotage part's going to come out. Next, you're going to get bodily, overwhelmed bodily, that the spirit is entering, is overwhelming your body. So, maybe this is where, smoking dope or the body, if you're not healing and you'll start doing drugs or drinking yourself into a stupor, or if you are in the healing process, now you get to feel all the body memories and sit on the john with diarrhea for 20 minutes or all that and with the memory, with the body memory, you might think, I think I want to kill myself, this is too much. That's the program that comes up while you're going through the physical stuff and confronting the scary crap. Now the thoughts of suicide, I might as well just kill myself, this isn't worth it, or whatever. And then the layer after that, once you push through the body memories, then it's maybe you get more memories. You get that mental overwhelm with the program says, okay, you really want to do this, you really want to remember, and you can push past the body memories. Here, I'm going to give you an avalanche of stuff to deal with. And that's where, the part will come up and say, I'm insane. There's no way this could have happened to me. Let me go and, go see a shrink, and they put you in an insane asylum or whatever, or they drug you, back to the previous layer of the body stuff and the sabotage. Well, let's get on drugs. Let's do this, do that. But if you just keep pushing through, and pick through that avalanche and record as much as possible, you'll get the avalanche out on paper and you're not going to go insane, right? So that's how it works for me. I imagine that most of us have something similar, if not exactly the same, When I was watching Svali's thing about the Alice in Wonderland programming, I don't know if I have that per se, but I certainly have a similar structure. And it was put in at the School Sisters of Notre Dame, which was Catholic, and I remember people talking about Jesuits there. I think that there were Jesuits there. And actually, right now, my part is telling me that Jack, my handler, was a Jesuit. Okay, so another detail. So that's it for today. Thank you for listening. I hope it was helpful. Again, if anybody has questions or, just wants to talk, send me an email. It's warlyndi@yahoo.com. and we'll get to know each other and chat. And also if you're looking for a good counselor, check out Jon Uhler. My three other friends, four, I forget. Yeah, four other survivors that I interact with, we're all Jon's clients, and I was Jon's client, and he's very good. So anyhow, I love you all. Take care, and I will see you next time.